were paraded under the watchful eyes of villagers. These alleged criminals are facing justice at the hands of the people.
There is no other solution for you. Respect, obey, and you will get a certificate for good conduct. That will serve you as your lawyer.
The detainees are facing charges from robbery to murder, some carrying sentences of up to 20 years. They were taken into custody by these men. They're known as the community police. They've been patrolling some 60 communities in these highlands for 15 years. They're unpaid village members, poorly armed. It's a mandatory service, and they say it is an effective security force.
At one point, violence was reduced by 95%. We've had some resurgence, but it's still the safest region in the state.
As the names and charges of the accused are read out loud, the prisoners listen. Their T-shirts meant to show shame. I am being re-educated, they say. The detainees will be taken back to their villages and spending the night in cells like this one. But during the daytime, the community police will escort them to the fields to do community work as a punishment. The detainees complain they are unlawfully imprisoned, men and women alike.
We're not allowed to claim for justice. We're not allowed to see a lawyer.
But the people of Jolochitan say they are backed by the Constitution.
The community police force may not be legal, but it is legitimate. The Constitution says the indigenous people have the sovereign right to govern themselves.
Community police commanders and coordinators face more than a dozen arrest warrants from state police for illegally arresting people. That is, officially. Because unofficially, the state police takes turns to visit these communities. They shake hands, exchange information, and are evidently content that in the end, crime is not such a problem in this part of Guerrero. It's a cause for celebration, they say, because these highland communities may be poor, but they feel safe. People have taken matters into their own hands here, and they say it has paid off. Mariana Sanchez, AlJazeera, Jolochitan, Mexico.
And that's all from the team in Washington. Now back to Doreen in Doha.
All right, Daljeet, thank you. Now it's time for the sports news on the Al Jazeera News Hour, and here's Guy.
Bangladesh's first experience of hosting a Cricket World Cup match didn't quite go to plan. They were well beaten by India after the co-hosts produced a stunning batting display. From Dhaka, Andy Richardson reports.
No one in Dhaka wanted to miss this moment of history. Bangladesh hosting their first ever World Cup game, the biggest sporting event this country's ever seen. What's more, their opponents were neighbours and fierce rivals India, a side they sensationally beat at the last World Cup. Bangladesh won the toss but opted to bowl first, and it was the Indian batsman who got off to a flyer. Some home respite was offered, and Sachin Tendulkar was run out for just 28. But Virender Sehwag more than made up for his role in that dismissal. He eased his way to the first century of this World Cup. Sehwag was by now limping, but he had the Bangladesh fielders running to all parts. He went on to score a mighty 175. Virat Kohli also hit a century, the co-host finishing up on 370 for 4. Bangladesh responded with some big hitting of their own. Tamim Iqbal once again pivotal to his side's effort. When he went for 70 though, so too did his team's best chance of victory. Bangladesh's final total of 283 for 9, giving India victory by 87 runs.
I thought we could have bowled better. I thought we bowled too many boundary balls, and that cost us the game. On the other hand, Virender Sehwag played really good innings, and he took the game away from us.
Still, Bangladesh is a good side in ODI. They can disappoint any bigger sides if they got to know that their strength and weaknesses, and if they play well against good sides, especially the test nation side, so still they can disappoint anyone.
So this not exactly the start Bangladesh fans would have been hoping for. Their team, though, can get their campaign back on track in their next game against Ireland. As for India, well, this generation of players has achieved so much, but they've never been able to repeat their country's World Cup triumph of 1983. Maybe this year they'll get it right. Andy Richardson, Al Jazeera, Dhaka.
Sri Lanka and Canada are finalising their preparations before they meet in the Cricket World Cup. The two teams met once before in 2003 in a game which is credited as the shortest in World Cup history after the Canadians were bowled out for just 36.
But I'm sure all of them are capable of doing something special when the occasion calls upon them. So you just got to be very wary of these sides and make sure that when you play them, you play your best cricket at all times.
There's no pressure on us really for tomorrow's game, so that's a big positive for us. We're here to play a good brand of cricket tomorrow, and showcase to the world that we can play a little bit.
To Spanish football, Jose Mourinho is now 9 years unbeaten in home league matches as a manager. That's after his current Real Madrid side brushed aside Levante on Saturday. Karim Benzema and Ricardo Carvalho scored Real's goals in a 2-0 victory. Mourinho has still not lost a home league match in charge of Porto, Chelsea, Inter Milan or Real. That's 147 games in all. Real now trail leaders Barcelona by just 2 points in the title race. Barca host Athletic Bilbao on Sunday. In Italy, Inter Milan are just 2 points behind Serie A leaders and City rivals AC Milan after they beat Cagliari 1-0. Inter's revival under coach Leonardo continued thanks to Hussein Khaja's 7th-minute strike. It's their 9th win in 13 games since the Brazilian took over from Rafael Benitez. Milan play away at Chievo on Sunday, with third-place Napoli also in action at home to Catania. In the English FA Cup, there was a major shock as holders Chelsea were eliminated from the competition on penalties by Everton in their 4th-round replay. In the other ties, Stoke and Birmingham City both won their 5th-round matches, while Manchester United beat non-league team Crawley Town by 1-0. On to women's tennis. Caroline Wozniacki will play Russia's Svetlana Kuznetsova in the Dubai Championships final after both came through their matches in straight sets. Wozniacki fought back from 5-2 down in the opening set to beat Serbia's Jelena Jankovic 7-5, 6-3. The Dane has won 3 of her 5 previous meetings with Kuznetsova. The Russian beat Italy's Flavia Pennetta 6-4, 6-4 in the other semi-final. And that's the sport for now.
OK, thanks very much. Well, we'll have all the latest news on Libya and the other developments coming up in just a moment. Stay tuned.
Hello. Well, it seems like it's been a long winter across a good part of the Middle East. It'll warm up over the next couple of days. Here in Doha, temperatures at around 24 Celsius. Plenty of sunshine across a good part of the Arabian Peninsula. And then we're getting up to 27 Celsius as we go on into Monday. So not looking too bad. Similar values there for Riyadh and also into Abu Dhabi. What wet weather we do have is a little further north, making its way across central parts of Iraq, eventually pushing across into Iran. A little bit of wet weather also affecting South Asia at the moment. There will be some, well, a wintry mix up towards the far north, some rain, sleet and snow over